Welcome to week 8 of the Personal Breakthrough Training. This is going to be your overview of week 8. And of course, you will be continuing with that ritual, evening and morning, making them habit. You're also going to spend time this week discovering internal conflicts that may be lurking underneath the surface. Conflicts between areas of your life, values of your life. We'll be seeing whether there are any of those. You're going to learn about journaling and the use of language and the power of that. And you are going to discover your timeline. All right, so day 1 here. If your most important values are associated with your school life and you're having conflicts in your personal life, it could be the sign of a values conflict. It could be that you are putting so much time and energy and focus and everything on your school life that things are happening in your personal life because that's not part of your focus right now. And this is not a judgment of good or bad. This is simply an awareness factor where you need to be aware that that is the possibility of a conflict and what can be done to resolve that. You are going to continue with your rituals, developing those. As always, question-focused statement, sharing questions, reading the lesson. And then you're going to identify conflicts with your dreams and your values and identify emotions that might be connected to those. So, for example, again, if you really value your personal life, your most important values are associated with your personal life, and you have these goals for your school life that aren't being met, it could well be the conflict between what you value most is taking time away, energy away, focus away from achieving those goals you have in your personal life. Identifying those and then learning how to deal with them is what we'll begin doing this day. And you're going to reflect. Day 2 is going to be all about journaling, which you've been doing now for 8 weeks. But now we're going to fine-tune this. And what you're going to do is understand the real magic happens in this journaling, and it is tremendously impactful on helping us become the person we want to be, that best person that we can possibly be. So, our rituals will continue. Focus statement, generating those questions, answering them, sharing them, reading your lesson. Then we're going to look at how we journal and why we should journal and why you are journaling. And you are going to journal. You're going to reflect. Your language. So this is where we take and we kick up the journaling. So language is how our meaning of the world around us is communicated both interpersonally and intrapersonally. So between people and within ourselves. So we got to understand that we use language internally to communicate. And this language is the literal written word, spoken word, but it's also symbolic language, right? And once we begin to learn to understand that language, the way we communicate with ourselves, is what gives things meaning, is going to unlock a whole new world on how to manage our emotions. This process of emotional management and attitudinal management, which are the heart and core of our heat system, along with habits, of course. So, speaking of habits, that's what you're going to be doing. Morning, evening breathing rituals. Question-focused statement. You're going to share questions. You're going to read your lesson. And then you're going to look at how language helps us relate with others. Primarily, we're going to just get an overview of structure and what language does. And we're going to talk specifically about how it helps us to self-reflect. All right, there's that journaling piece, okay? And we are going to reflect. So day 4, presuppositions. We're going to talk about this language pattern that's explicit in all language, and that's the presuppositions that are embedded in the language. So these presuppositions can have an incredibly powerful impact on the meaning or the ability to communicate or not communicate well. It's got the flip side too, but how we communicate with ourselves and with others. So we'll do our rituals, come up with the questions, answer questions, share questions, look at others, read the lesson, and then you're going to get introduced to presuppositions. And this is just the most rudimentary, simplified version of presuppositions. It truly is just an introduction. And you're going to reflect. All right, so day 5, we're going to look at this linguistic model called the meta model. The meta model language patterns can have a profound impact in the power of our self-reflections and journaling. All right, and that's why you're going to be introduced to them. Again, you're going to continue your morning, evening, and breathing rituals. Question focus statement, generate your questions, share them, read your lesson, and then you're going to get introduced to this idea of the meta model and what are these language patterns called the meta model. And you're going to reflect. Day 6 is all pulling it all together now. All right, and it's basically cognitive behavioral therapy and self-reflection. So using your language to flush out distortions, deletions, and generalizations we make in our communication to ourselves is incredibly powerful. And all language, all communication, including the statements I just made, have any one or a combination of those deletions, distortions, or generalizations. You're going to continue your morning and evening and breathing rituals. Yes, question focus statement, questions, reading your lesson. And then you're going to look at the principles behind cognitive behavioral therapy. You got to understand what that process is all about. And then we're going to look at how, in particular, the meta model and CBT, how they can be applied to our journaling and self-reflection, and how they can help us constantly work on improving ourselves and managing our emotions and not letting negativity take root inside. And then you're going to reflect. Day 7 is going to be a fun one. Day 7 is about discovering your timeline. And learning about your timeline and how to use it is perhaps the most powerful and important part of this entire 10-week training program. This is the king. This is the ultimate weapon, so to speak. So we're going to discover your timeline. You will work, yes, on your morning and evening rituals. And you're going to reflect. And that is going to wrap up week 8 with just 2 weeks left of this training program. I look forward to seeing you guys in the office hours, and I hope you all have an awesome week.